I am your friend, Dr. Charles Apoki. I'm so happy to be back home. At least I am sweating. And I want to air my opinion concerning the statement made by His Excellency Peter Obi during his interview with Nedu and the Honest Bunch. I happen to have been to that program before now. Coincidentally, I did a video some days, I think about 7 days or 6 days now, before Peter Obi's statement that a nation with more churches than industries cannot prosper. And the church folks, particularly those young men who are general overseers, whose lives are dependent upon getting money from the people, attacked me, called me philosophical pastor, as if you don't need philosophy in Christianity. That's why most of you don't reason. So, let me state some facts up front. First of all, from my video, the word industry does not mean factory. Industry is a group of businesses. So you have the music industry, you have the aviation industry. And one of somebody commenting, I told him that your church has a plaza where people rent and the church gets money. Your church sells paper and my printing press. I have a printing press. I'm an ordained clergyman. I have a printing press. My press buys paper from you. I also print materials from your printing press owned by your diocese. Your diocese has a fish farm. Your diocese has halls that they rent out, which I also rent. So your diocese has investments. And I gave an example of the Nnewi Diocese of the Anglican Communion that has rice farm. They sell rice. They have computer centers. They are into oil and gas. They have schools. They have several investments. I gave another example of the Onitsha Diocese of the Catholic Church that has 5 big functional hospitals, and they are into several multi-million naira businesses. I gave an example of the richest Catholic priest, at least in Nigeria, if not the whole world, Father Ede, that has 2 universities, has banks, has paper mill, has printing press. I think he has a bottling company, and he is not flamboyant. He doesn't have a private jet. And the writer said that his major interest is humanity. And there are several, the Maris brothers in Uturu, they have tractors, they have workshop, they have poultry, they have hatchery, they have hospital, they have schools in Uturu. So, I have traveled and seen. I was in the hospital where my son works in Germany about 4 days back. It is established, or it was established by the Roman Catholic Church. Big hospital with a chapel, so small chapel inside. And I know that chapel will not be making noise to disturb people. So, when Peter Obi said that he will turn night vigils to night shifts, the average Nigerian Christian is a reactive person. They are like attack bulldogs. Peter Obi cannot become president again. Shut up your mouth. It's like those of you who tell me that I won't preach in your churches. Shut up your mouth. How much do you give to me? What do I need to preach in your church for? Do you know what companies pay me to speak? Do you know the businesses I do? Some of you just have entitlement mentality. Now that Peter Obi is not president, who is suffering more? Is it Peter Obi or you? Let bag of rice become 1 million. Peter Obi will buy it. You just wake up, you start talking anyhow. Number 2, do you love God more than Peter Obi? Do you love the church more than Peter Obi? Peter Obi has donated more to the church than your general overseer. Peter Obi's brother is a Catholic priest. That means they sacrificed a whole human being, man, from a wealthy family. You don't know that they own Next supermarket. You don't know that they own Next supermarket around Nigeria. You don't know how many things Peter Obi is the sole importer in Nigeria or even West Africa. Peter Obi has donated more to the church than you. And you that is doing all night, you stayed night vigil. I'm always wondering how Peter Obi goes without security in some places. I always wonder how he's able to shake his enemies, shake those who voted against him, shake his... I have been thinking, excuse me, I've been thinking, what confidence does this man have? He believes in God. Those of you going to night vigils, it's fear. Some of you also go to native doctors. Now, let's analyze night vigils. I have done night vigils as a young pastor. We go there, we sing most times and dance most times. And by the time the message is on, people are sleeping. Ushers will be going around waking the people sleeping. And then at the end of the day, you will close, you will go and sleep, you won't go to work. I know a church behind me here. Ironically, it is a factory that closed down that the church is using. Another church is there in the same factory that closed down. Another church is there in the same factory that closed down. So we are doing churches in a factory we could revitalize that will employ people. So you go to the night vigil. Do you really maximize the time? The night vigil, is it not a mentality of an African that they are meeting they meet by 12 o'clock, so stay awake. It is by 12 o'clock that they are meeting. Is it not the mentality that demonic activities take place at night? That's why you are awake to pray against them. If the God you serve neither sleeps nor slumber, why do you have to stay awake with him at the same time? Why don't you sleep? Let him take care of you. Why? If you love staying awake, why don't you go and be a security guard? Most night vigils are not effectively used. If you pray from 4 o'clock to say 7 o'clock during the day, 7 says 4 o'clock, or let's say 6 o'clock to even 9 o'clock, 3 hours of prayer is enough. God is not a wicked God like your father or like Dr. Apoki. He is a merciful God. Before you even start praying, he has heard. So, some people say, why don't I talk to Muslims? Why would I talk to Muslims? I don't have control over another person's servant. Now, let me ask you a simple question. The tomatoes you eat, who grows it? The cows you eat, who rears them? The sheep you eat, who rears them? The onions you use, who plants them? The carrot you use, who plants them? The watermelon you eat, who plants them? The beans you eat, who plants them? The rice you are carrying from the bagged rice, tomato puree, is produced in the north, and they are predominantly Muslims. What do you produce? 6% of Nigeria's GDP centers around animal husbandry. How many animals are in your prayer camps? Then let's come to oil. The same oil Nigeria has, Saudi Arabia has, Kuwait has, Qatar has, Oman has, all the Gulf states that produce oil. Can you compare Nigeria to those states? They have invested their money well. 30 years back, Dubai was just a small fishing port. See what they have become. Are you not going there for holidays? Are you not going there for treatment? You want me to talk to Muslims? There are more industries functional in the north than in several areas in the south where you people are praying and praying and praying. If a Muslim is going to the mosque, he carries the one who is a cobbler, carries his materials down. See the markets they have established around your country. And Muslims don't need big auditoriums to pray. With their mats, 5 of them will gather together from different states of the country, and they will pray and they will move on. They don't need to raise money to build big infrastructure all over the streets. 5 churches in one building, making noise. Now let's look at the statement. Dismantling night vigils to night shifts. Simple intelligence. I ask you a simple question. Do you think that your brethren in America, unless the witches in your village are very wicked, do you think your brothers in America will leave their jobs and go and do night vigil? No. They walk. Carry some of these pastors to America, they will die of hunger. Carry them to the UK, they will die of hunger. They walk. They walk at night. Excuse me. You might need to do 3 jobs. I was in Australia. My pastor friend that invited me, I taught him in the Sunday school. He's late now. I was wondering how he manages to impregnate his wife. Throughout the night, he will walk, come, go. I felt guilty going to visit him. As I traveled now, at one point, my children had to leave me to go and walk. If you go and do night vigil before you come back, your job is taken over. Let's look at how you can dismantle night vigils. The time is coming in Nigeria where your salary cannot feed you, cannot even pay your transport. My wife was complaining as I came back now. Bag of rice is this, bag of rice is that. I don't complain because I knew these things many years back when I started preaching. And I established businesses that are taking care of me in old age. Excuse me. I have real estate. If you listen very carefully, you will hear chicken, a cock crow now. It's the broilers in my poultry. I have a poultry in this compound. I have plantains in this compound. I have coconut in this compound. I don't buy oranges in this compound. Your prayer camps are empty. Empty of animals, empty of poultry, empty of crops. If the economic situation continues like this and the prices are going up, you will need to do extra work to earn enough to cater for your children's school fees. In fact, that time you will refuse to give your first fruit. I'm telling you. When you have bills piled up, you will refuse to give your first salary. Those of us talking to you, we love God. I spent my money around Africa. Excuse me. Forgive me the change in weather. I spent my money doing missionary work around Africa without collecting offerings. If there are factories working, this residence, I bought it from a factory that closed. Assuming this factory is working and there's production throughout the night, you won't go for night vigil. You will come to your work. You will come to your work. If there is production in Nigeria and people are having to do night shifts in the factories, you won't have time for night vigil. That's what Peter Obi is saying. Now listen very carefully. When you go to societies that function, this your bank applications, there are people working at night to keep them going. My son works from home. He's a computer engineer, has a PhD, he works in a Jewish firm. The only thing that will take the Jewish people away from work is to go and fight. Not to pray, they go and fight. Wear uniform and fight. to defend their country, the Israeli Defense Force. Now, all these bank applications that function at night, electricity that is regular, train stations that are regular, radar that are regular, things that make society function, people work there 24 hours. And those 24 hours, you can't go to night vigil. If you have produced glass before, I was the doctor in charge of the Aba glass industry, the clinic there, International Glass Industry Aba. You cannot afford to off the furnace. If you off the furnace, the glass will congeal. And to rebuild a furnace is a lot of money. You have to bring the bricks from France and Italy. It's a lot of money. So the furnace is always on. 24 hours. The bitter glass industry here, they run shifts. They run shifts. My pastor works there. When he's on night shift, he doesn't do tarry night, or what do they call it? Night vigil. The clinic is on. Ambulance drivers are on. Security agencies are on. What Peter Obi is saying is that he will make the country very, very productive, that throughout the night, throughout the day, value addition, production instead of consumption, and then you will find out that you won't have time to go and pray at night. Just look, we are looking at the billboards in Germany. It was companies. When I came now, the billboards, churches. What's wrong with us? Did Satan fall in Nigeria? Did Satan fall in Africa? Did he land in Africa? Why are we so stupid and wicked? Why are we so lazy? Why are we practicing obscurantism? Why do we want God? Excuse me. Why do we want God to come and do what He has made us to do, to be responsible? I was watching a pastor now. He said, God, prayer will not change the principles that God has established if you disobey them. Walk. First commandment God gave to man is walk. Walk. Airlines fly throughout the night. If airlines are functional, you won't have time for night vigil. Miami International Airport, very busy. It is run by a local government, and local government here can't manage markets, dirty markets. And then you go and shake your head like a concrete mixer throughout the night. Nonsense. When you see a professor shaking his head like this, you know he's an idiot. When I say many of you are mumu, you will say I'm insulting people. You can't think. That's why this country stinks. You're talking to somebody who has gone to business schools around the world, who knows what he's saying. You say you won't vote for him. Bust you, man. Bust you. You don't vote for him, so what? We'll stay here. See the one you voted, are you not enjoying it? These same people who are attacking Peter Obi, attacking Charles Awuzie. Peter Obi just said what Charles Awuzie, myself, and others have been saying for more than 20 years. We have been saying these things for more than 20 years. It's just that Peter Obi came up and said it now. We've been saying these things for more than 20 years. We started ministry before you. We started doing miracles before you. We started raising money before you. We started doing night vigil before you. We have sacrificed more for the gospel before you. So don't open your mouth and talk trash. Entitlement mentality. If Obi will not never be the president of this country, bust you! Who are you? You think Obi will suffer? These same people who are not reasonable are the same ones. If their father dies, they will form WhatsApp group to raise money. They will form WhatsApp group. They are the ones who will send account numbers that their father died. They are the same ones who will beg money when their wife delivers. They are the same ones whose, when children's school fees are due, they will be calling me, calling people. Peter Obi has donated more money to the church than your whole denomination. He has contributed to humanity in this country more than you and your denomination, more than all your night prayer. We drove past one of the biggest churches in the world in this country on Sunday. They closed. The members, because they came from long distance, they don't have cars or they can't buy fuel, they were compressed in buses going home. You don't see that overseas. Compressed in buses going home. If you have a functional train system passing through that place for 24 hours, you won't cramp yourself. I saw the other ones, they were waiting for buses. I said, look at people who preach prosperity. In management, there's something called KPI, Key Performance Indicators. In anything you do, you evaluate it to see the productivity, whether it is meeting expectation. Let me ask you one question. All the prosperity gospel we have been preaching, Nigeria is still the poverty capital of the world. We are the open defecation capital of the world. We defecate in the streets. All the gospel we are preaching of prosperity. Only 6% of Nigerians, I don't know if it's even 4%, of Nigerians have up to $500,000 naira in their accounts. Savings. Prosperity, sow seed, give, provoke God. Provoke God. God said, I wish above all things that thou mayest prosper and be in good health. It's his desire. When you make your children prosper, then you relax, then they bless you. As I traveled to Europe, I spent only 20 euros. And that 10 euros, and that 10 euros was because in Dusseldorf, I needed to wrap my bag so that wicked people won't put something inside. Because I know many of you hate me. You can't do me nothing. Can't do me nothing. Corn that is cooked inside bottle, fowl cannot eat it. A child that God is carrying on his back, the wrapper will not lose it. That's who we are. Your bad belly can't do me nothing. Nothing. Bust you. Your bad mouth can't do me nothing. Bust you. And mark me, if you come here and insult me, I will insult your father. Because I'm his age mate. Use your brains. In every dispensation, the relationship between God and man evolves. There was a time when somebody insulted his father and his mother, they stoned him to death. Somebody caught in adultery was stoned to death. Then the relationship between man and Christ came. He didn't need to stone that woman to death. Elijah went into ministry, slaughtered his oxen, used them as burnt offering, went into ministry. But there was a dispensational reality when there was donor fatigue in 2 Kings chapter 4. It's asked the prophet's wife, what have you of sale value? What industry can you create? Madam, what industry can you create? Is your pastor more anointed than Elisha? Are you more anointed than Elisha? Is your husband more anointed than Elisha? That was a certified prophet with miracles. Not assumed prophet that calls telephone numbers. There's somebody here. There's somebody here. That is word of knowledge. We don't know anything. It's word of knowledge. It's already existent. Prophesy tomorrow, like yesterday, then we will know you're a prophet. Not people who permutate electoral victory in America. Even Mumu like me can know who most likely know who will win. Mumu like me. I'm calling myself Mumu because when you call me Mumu, it doesn't affect me. I'm calling myself a crazy man. I'm not normal. If you call me bad name, it doesn't affect me. But I will whip you. Whip your papa. Because Namia and your papa be mate. You hear the smell. Elisha asked the woman, what till you get for house when you fit sell? And the woman became a distributor of oil. Prophet's wife became a distributor of oil. Elisha was still standing there when the oil stopped, and he said, go sell. The woman needed to learn marketing, live on the rest. The woman needed to know investment and long-term dividend, that is eternal money, or echo income, as I wrote in one of my books. Some of these people with half-baked education that ran into ministry, half-baked education with nothing to do that ran into ministry. Even some of us who are educated, when we get into ministry, the greed and the one bishop called it Pentecostal aristocracy, the iron love oligarchy. You just see the people like Mumu and you want to colonize their brains. Use them to grandiose yourself, and your children are living overseas. And you have citizenship, you have different passports. You can stay overseas anytime you like. You can shift to the UK, shift to America. Then you imprison the people here. Any person worrying you, fire. Anywhere they mention your name, Koboko. Anywhere they do this one, thunder. What's wrong with you? What's wrong with you? What's wrong with you? You think Israel can defend themselves by, They think. They have the factories, ammunition factories. They have drug factories. They have agricultural factories in their kibbutzes. They produce food, produce medicines, produce missiles, produce whatever. They modified the MiG, modified all kinds of aircraft oh God. Sometimes I could just vex. The way we know they think. Vex. Think I wait for your offering before I eat? I knew this very early, 25 years back, and I started planning, started positioning my children and training them. If you like, continue. I have been to a very big church to preach. After several years, the general overseer is a shadow of himself. There are no productive units in the premises of the church that is bringing revenue. Struggling. That's after some time they start running after governors, running after special advisors, and running after that. If we keep quiet in this country, in a few years you won't recognize it. So Peter Obi was right. We have been saying this before Peter Obi said it. People, Charles Awolzie, myself, several others have been saying this. But you people and church people have arrogated to themselves a kind of relevance that they think that any person that has a contrary view is an antichrist. Is it only you he died for? He died for us. You love him more than us? No! It is because you are benefiting from the rot. I am Dr. Charles Apoki. Whether I'm your friend or not, I don't care. Now you sabi. Call me any name you like. I will call you the kind name you no go like. And they vex so. They vex well. See the poverty for here, the disorganization, the rottenness in this country. Look at somebody arrested for 1 trillion. But if you can arrest him for 1 trillion, why have you not arrested Yahaya Bello? Is the justice system in this country impartial? When children were arraigned in court for treason, children in the north, and one yeye person came out and said that some of them are graduates, they are 10 years old. When did they not start producing 10-year-old graduates? A lawyer came to defend the wrath. Then somebody who was minister for police affairs or one thing, when those children were arrested, was distributing food. It's called problem reaction solution. You create the problems, then you react as if you are producing a solution, or when the people react, you behave. How many of your general overseers have spoken up against the injustice of children being put on trial? If not a very dark man, will you make him a deacon in your church? With his hair and his necklaces and the way he dresses, he is more godly than you. He hates evil more than you people who wear clerical collar and walk with your faces as if you are mortuary attendants, that you can't commit sin. And you are more wicked than The wickedness in some of these denominations is terrible. The tribalism is terrible. People bring reports to me, and I know all these men you see as if they are humble, see as if they can't kill fly. When they call Jesus, you think they are licking chocolate. Very wicked. Very, very wicked. Selfish, tribalistic. I have a webinar coming up, becoming a person of influence. In Frankfurt, a professor brought my book to come and greet me. Frankfurt Airport. A professor, an associate professor, came to greet me with my book. She was reading my book in Frankfurt Airport, becoming a person of influence. We know the deal. Send a message on +234 2121 9262. And they will send you the flyer. Just 2-3 days to go. Register now. God bless you.